Visual Arts Audition Guidelines. Part 1. Prior to your scheduled audition date, the applicant uses their personal time leading up to the audition to create one still life drawing following our specific guidelines. The applicant will need to bring this completed drawing for submission to us on the evening of their scheduled audition. This applicant will also complete a short 5-minute written prompt that is connected to the still life drawing at the time of their audition on campus. Parts 2 and 3. At your scheduled audition on the Dreyfus campus. Part 2. The applicant will complete a 30-minute timed self-portrait drawing using a mirror, paper, and materials provided by the school. Part 3. The applicant will complete a 30-minute timed, 3-dimensional design, paper sculpture based on a word/idea given to the student at the time of the audition, using materials, black or white paper, scissors, tape, and glue, all of which will be provided by the school. The applicant will also complete a short 5-minute written explanation of how the design is connected to the word prompt they were assigned. Note: some student groups may begin with the paper sculpture and then end with the self-portrait. Applicants are not allowed to have their cell phones with them during the audition. They should be left with a parent or guardian in the cafeteria. Applicants will be penalized if their cell phone is taken out at any point during their audition. Important note: all artworks, the drawings, and the paper 3D design will be left with the judges for adjudication. The students will not get this work back. A notice on the expectation of artistic integrity. Submission of the final portfolio of these 3 works at the audition attests that the student applicant was the only person to work on the artwork submitted for scoring. Honesty and integrity are expected of all applicants. Part 1. Still life drawing must be completed prior to your audition time and brought with you to your audition. The applicant will complete a still life drawing. The still life should include the 7 objects listed below at minimum, which are readily available household or personal items and an item found outside. 1 to 2. A pair of shoes with laces. This counts as 2 objects. 3. A piece of paper that has been crumpled and then uncrumpled. 4. A glass or plastic transparent cup that has water in it, filled at least halfway. 5. A pair of scissors. 6. An apple. And 7. An object of your choice that symbolically represents your personal identity, interests, or personality. Arrangement and execution of drawing. The still life drawing should be drawn from life, not from referencing a photo. It is recommended that applicants set up their still life somewhere it will not be disturbed until they are done with the drawing. You do not want your objects to move until you are done. The 7 objects should be placed on a flat surface but can be placed/stacked/draped atop or alongside one another if the artist chooses to do so. It is recommended that the artist be creative in the way they choose to arrange these 7 objects for their drawing. Artists should create a unique and personalized composition that will allow them to showcase the proportion, the values, and the perspective, relationship and space to one another of the 7 objects in their drawing. It is recommended to put a light source of some sort on your still life to allow for you to showcase a range of values, lights and darks, in your drawing. The artist must showcase all 7 items in their drawing but are not expected to fit the entirety of all 7 objects in their composition. Some objects can and likely will overlap with one another and go off the edges of the paper. Materials needed and suggested time. White drawing or white mixed media paper, size 18 inches x 24 inches. Artists are allowed to use only pencils/graphite pencils/sticks, black pen, black china marker, and/or black marker. No, do not use any other materials other than those listed above. May be needed. Eraser, suggested type, magic rub, or something similar that erases clean. The applicant will need a consistent view of their still life and hard surface on which to draw. The applicant can utilize their paper surface in either landscape or portrait orientation. The applicant will need to light the still life to showcase values, lights, and darks. We suggest at least 5 hours be spent in total on making the still life drawing, but you may work on it longer if you choose. Note on materials. Our school will have 18 x 24 inch white paper, ebony pencils, and erasers available for applicants to come and pick up if they have no way to acquire them on their own. At the time of the audition on campus, students will be provided with 5 minutes to respond in writing to a question regarding their completed still life drawing, their artistic process, and/or their artistic goals. Their prompt will be disclosed at the time of the audition. Students will have 3 to 5 sentences to answer this response. Evaluation for the still life will be based on proportion, the shape and size of each still life item related to one another in the illusion of depth. Value, an accurate use of lights and darks. Composition, the consideration of the combination/arrangement of the objects in the drawing. Creative approach, the creative approach by the artist, including mark making and handling of materials. Follows directions. The correct materials are used on the specified paper size and all required objects are included. Completion. The drawing looks complete/finished. Written response. Relevance. The response relates to the prompt. Written response. Thoughtful. The response demonstrates careful thought. Transporting your drawing to your audition. Applicants can carefully roll up their completed drawing and secure it with a rubber band or paper clips for the transportation to the school. Roll the drawing up so the drawing faces inward, not outward. Protect your drawing. Part 2. Artwork 2. Self-portrait drawing. What is a self-portrait drawing? A self-portrait is a drawn portrait of an artist produced or created by that artist. The applicant will create a self-portrait drawing. The applicant will be provided with an 18 x 24-inch piece of white drawing paper, graphite sticks, 4B and/or 6B, both thick and thin, an eraser, and a small standing mirror. The student will be provided with 30 minutes to complete this drawing. Self-portrait should be completed in a frontal view or a 3/4 view. Self-portrait should include the entire length of the head and neck, include a small amount of the shoulders. Nothing below the shoulders should be included in any substantial way. Self-portrait must be at least life-size, the size of their actual head, neck, shoulders, but may be bigger if you so choose. Self-portrait may include your hand if it is visible in the picture frame. You may choose to include the surrounding environment or space in your drawing, but this should not be the primary focus of the drawing. Your time should be spent primarily on your self-portrait. Evaluation for the self-portrait will be based on proportion, the size of each part of the face, head, and shoulders related to one another. Values, an accurate use of lights and darks. Composition and perspective, the consideration of placement and thoughtful approach to the perspective chosen for the head, neck, and shoulders on the paper surface. Follows directions. The applicant follows directions during the audition and draws the self-portrait to scale, at least life-size. Creative approach, the creative approach by the artist, including mark making and handling of materials. And completion, the drawing looks complete/finished. Part 3. Paper 3D Design Sculpture. The applicant will create a paper sculpture based on a word prompt given to them at the time of their audition. The applicant's design for this paper sculpture should be based on/inspired by the word prompt provided. The applicant will be provided with the word and definition in writing. Sculptures must be 3-dimensional. Sculptures can be created using black or white paper, but not both. Paper forms can be assembled/sculpted using the provided glue sticks and/or clear tape. Paper forms can also be assembled by carefully folding the paper if the applicant chooses. It is important to note that sculptures must be crafted well and stay together after the student completes the work. Sculptures should be well constructed and attention to craftsmanship is expected. Size expectation. Sculptures should be at least the size of a clenched fist. After those 30 minutes are up, students will be given pencils, and after instructions will have 5 minutes to write a brief written statement which explains how their sculpture relates to the assigned word prompt. Students will be expected to communicate clearly and discuss how specific artistic choices made when creating the sculpture were connected to the assigned word prompt. Evaluation for the paper sculpture will be based on design communicates the word/idea. The sculpture's design and composition connects to the assigned word/idea in a compelling way. Creative approach. The creative approach of sculpting by the artist, including the approach to the building/construction of their sculpture and the handling of materials. Craftsmanship. The overall quality of, care of, and handling of the sculpture. The applicant follows directions during the audition and correct materials are used, either black or white paper and provided tools. Completion. The sculpture looks complete/finished. Written statement. Relevance. The response relates to the prompt. Written statement. Connection. Relates specific visual characteristics of the sculpture to the word prompt assigned.